Happy Wednesday morning, campers. I'm Michael Bain. This is Triggered, coming to you from the Dragon House Studios at the secret hidden bunker in the Rocky Mountains, where today you would swear it was spring. 65 degrees, it's absolutely beautiful. The mangy coyotes are running around all over the place. But the show today is kind of going to be what you might think of as a mixed grill. You know, when you go to a restaurant and you see on the menu mixed grill, that means whatever they've got lying around, whatever meat they've got lying around, pork, turducken, beef, whatever. Well, you know, cats and dogs if it's an Asian mixed grill. But we're going to talk about a bunch of different things. How about that? First thing I want to talk about this morning is a gun you've seen before, but you haven't seen it, I don't think, in this configuration. This is a Ruger 10mm GP100. You know what a fan I am of the GP100. In fact, a few years back, in I think maybe the third episode of Triggered, we did a history of the Ruger GP100. And I might come back and redo that because a lot has changed with the GP100 since we did that last history. But anyway, this guy, I think a 5-inch barrel. It's a Lipsy Specials, one of the Lipsy's Gun of the Month specials several months back. And blue, a beautiful, beautiful gun, fun to shoot. Now, I got this gun because I wanted to shoot it in competition, I-Corps competition. And of course, it's 10mm. It uses moon clips. So I shot it some, I shot it a bunch, in fact, and decided that I'm going to standardize on red dot sights because my eyes are old and they want to see that red dot sight. So we did some mounting on it. I didn't like the way the mounting was going, so rather than me take a Dremel to it, which is never a good thing, I sent it to Sean Mashihi at Cylinder and Slide Shop in Nebraska. Sean's done a bunch of work for me. He built my 10mm hog gun, the one that's splatter Cerakoted. And he goes, yeah, send it out. I'll clean it up. And so this is a JP sight. I believe it's made by Shield in England. And JP's been doing them for about 1,000 years. Of course, JP Rifles, John Paul, my friend. And so Sean fit the mount, which is an all-chin mount, by the way. John Allchin, another friend of mine. The revolver shooting world is not that huge, right? But it's an all-chin mount. It's a JP on it. It's absolutely perfect. And then because Sean can't not do this, it's got a heck of a trigger. Sean did my last GP100. This is like 7-8 years ago that we filmed for the I-Corps World Championships that we filmed for Shooting Gallery. And so this guy, I would swear, has a better trigger than that one. It's got a great trigger on it. Everything's polished because Sean does good work, of course. Well, I've talked also a bit about revolver supply, and I want to talk a little more about it because people have contacted me and said, wow, you know, you're selling us on competing with revolvers. Remember we talked about them, and I just want to show you their full product line. Not their full product line, but a lot of it. This is the ultimate moon clip tool. Moon clips are a pain in the butt to load, especially when you get to the 8-shot moon clips. Remember talking about a Ruger 9mm revolver, which completely obsoleted this guy for competition, by the way. This guy has now become a hunting gun, or hey, a carry around the property gun. But with the 9mm Ruger and Super GP100, that 8th 9mm round into that moon clip is a real pain. It's hard to do it by hand. So I talked about a bunch of different moon clip loaders. This is the one I really like. I actually bought one. And here's how it works. Let me just show you. Here's why it saves your fingers. You've got these replaceable arbors right here. That's what they're called, arbors. They're different diameters. And the reason they're different diameters is every moon clip on Earth is a different diameter. So these guys are not much, $4, $5, $6 a piece. Buy all of them or you're going to be surprised. This size arbor fits the 10mm GP100 moon clips. These are Ruger clips. They're really loose. Were I going to use this in competition, I would go to TK Custom moon clips and get them a little bit tighter because it's a little bit easier to load them. So into the revolver. So if I want to load this guy now that I have the ultimate moon clip tool, I take this round. These are self-defense rounds, by the way, from my friend Michael McNett at Double Tap. Great guy, great friend, and these are a heck of a defensive ammunition. You put the round right there, dunk, and then you just squeeze this. This is not hard. Squeeze. You're going to squeeze and pop. Whoa, look at that. The round is in, the lime is in the coconut. The round is now in the moon clip. You just go through this like this. So it fits in tight. And this is pretty scintillating television, isn't it? I once produced a whole segment of Larry Potterfield actually sanding a stock. And Larry kept saying, I want to show you to use every step. And it went on for about 2 hours. And Larry didn't know, and he probably still doesn't know this day, that 5 minutes in, I looked over at my videographer and went, so, but Larry talked for solid 2 hours. This is sort of like that. So anyway, you end up with a loaded moon clip. That's a good thing, right? Now there's other tools that Revolver Supply offers, and all of them are useful if you want to become a revolver nerd. They have a second moon clip loader, and that's this guy. This is the pocket tool. Now why do you call it a pocket tool? This will fit a little bit better in your gun bag, because all of our gun bags are full, right? But this one does exactly the same thing as that one, but you can see here it goes like, here's the pusher, moon clip goes on the arbor, and any of these arbors will fit it, and then you go tonka, 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 tonka. Having shot the ICOR World Championship several times with moon clip revolvers, this is a godsend. My hands, the one time I decided to do it without a moon clip loader, by the end of the match, I swear my thumb was bloody from like sticking these rounds into these little bitty clips. So as I said, the Ruger clips are very loose. That's why I'd go to TK. So this guy here, couple other, just briefly. This is a tool to check whether your moon clips are flat. It's an important thing if you're competing with them, because you're spending a lot of time dropping them on the ground. Sometimes they get stepped on, sometimes they get bent. If they get bent, they jam your revolver. So you want to get something like this to test moon clips. If you want to carry moon clips, they got you covered there too. Slips on your belt, the moon clip with the appropriate arbor drops right down onto it. And finally, if you want to get your moon clips out, this is easy on an easy clip like this, but this goes on here, that goes on there, that goes on there, that goes on there, that goes quickly like that, and next thing you know, you got all these little suckers off. The joke is Ruger includes one of these with their 9mm revolver. I was out hunting with Mark Gurney, who's an executive at Ruger, and we were hunting with 10mm, and I had my own version of this, that also a Revolver Supply, and we got done shooting. We had this big stack of moon clips because we were testing different 10mm, and I said, just hand them to me, and I started doing that, and Mark goes, oh my God, what is that? And I said, it's a moon clip deloader, so it's included with every 9mm Ruger. As soon as we come back, we're going to go from round ones to bottom feeders and talk about this Glock and this red dot sight. This week's Triggered is brought to you by Lucid Optics, on target, under budget. Franklin Armory, home of the Reformation. Honor Defense, hey, with a brand new gun on the way. Cimarron Firearms, King of the Cowboys. Lipsy's and their Gun of the Month. Tandem Cross, making good guns even better. And Ammo Man. What's inside your ammo can? Welcome back to Triggered. If you recall, a week or two ago, we talked about Lucid Optics' new red dot sight, the Litl Mo. And I do appreciate, Jason Wilson, that you named it after your kid as opposed to saying it was the ABX 300-version 2. I can at least remember that. And I have it mounted on a gun, so I wanted to show you that. This is a Glock 34 Gen 5 MOS. I specifically bought the gun because this MOS plate system allows you to change from optic to optic to optic. When I use this in competition, I have used it in competition, it has a Trijicon SRO on it, and I have a special plate, I think from C&H Precision, titanium plate, that really perfectly fits the SRO. So I went back to the standard Glock plate to mount the Litl Mo. It's a Glock Trijicon plate. This is an RMR standard, I believe. And take a look at this. I also changed the rear sights. Interestingly enough, I probably made a mistake doing it. I had some AmeriGlow suppressor height rear sights, and I went ahead and screwed them into the Glock here using a sight push tool, and as opposed to a mallet, which is how I used to do it. It works, but it's a little hard on the gun and the sight. But this one's a little low. You know, if I was going to buy another one, I'd buy one a little higher, but it turned out not to make that much difference because I still have a sight. I still have a sight picture. It's a very low at the it's not even a bottom third. It's more of a bottom sixth of a sight picture, but I do have backup irons if I need them. You know, if the dot should go out or get struck by lightning or something like that, I do have backup irons. First I said, well, I'll just go ahead and get the new ones and get them higher. And then the more I started working with the gun, the more I thought, well, that's not bad. I kind of like that. But I want to ring this gun out, you know, trying out the Litl Mo sight. I'm looking forward to shooting it. I'll be shooting it at a class. We are going to be filming a red dot class put on by Lucid and Wyoming Tactical in a couple of weeks, maybe a week even. And it's getting started with red dots, and we're going to bring that class to you as special versions of Triggered because it'll help. It will help you learn how to quickly adapt to a red dot sight. One of the reasons I said we were kind of in a mixed grill world here today is I've been cleaning out the safes. As you know, it's been Michael Bain selling off guns, right? We've talked about that on Facebook. I have a lot of guns that in some cases I haven't seen them in 20 years. And I'm looking to buy myself an excellent competition sporting clay shotgun and maybe change over the house gun from an 870 to a Beretta. And rather than just buy them and stack stuff around, I decided to clean out the safes at the suggestion of my sweetie, who's smarter than me. So I do not sell guns individually. To be clear, all my guns are sold through guns.com. And I believe last time I talked to my guy there, Mark Sims, that he is going to go ahead and mark the guns from my collection as guns from Michael Bain's collection. So you might want to check it out. In about 2 months, you're going to see a couple of custom high powers. You're going to very badly want to lay your hands on those. But this is a gun that I had built some years back, and it's a great little gun. It's a Colt, and I don't have that many Colts. I'm never been a huge Colt guy after all these years of 1911s. You know, I've had Colt 1911s. I've also had Springfield, Caspian, Kimber, fill in the blank, lots of different 1911s. But I had an opportunity to go to the Colt Custom Shop a few years back, and we were talking, and they said, how come we've never built up a gun for you? We never put a gun together for you. By the way, I pay for these, even though they put them together for me. But I said, you know, it's an interesting point. I said, but let's do something different. Rather than do like what we would think of as a competition 1911, a 5-inch with, you know, with cool sights and all the usual stuff. I said, what if we built something on the 9mm Defender platform? This is one of the small. Colt also has a 380, but this is their smallest 9mm platform. It's a 1911 9mm, roughly. I think a 3-inch barrel, and interestingly enough, it's a 3-inch barrel recoil system that works. Colt spent a lot of time debugging the 9mm platform because it was actually a nasty nest of bugs. It looked like an anthill. It had so many different issues with it. But I worked with them, said this is exactly what I want. And it's a great little gun. Custom trigger, it's also, these are Novak sights. For, you know, of course, the 3-dot sights, I'll black out the other 2 dots. But I never really ended up carrying the gun because by the time it was made, oddly enough, I'd kind of shifted over to carry guns as Glocks as carry guns. But the trigger pull on this is just super. It's got a great trigger pull. I talked about my issue with girly man hands, and so rather than pinning the grip safety, they were very careful to get everything ground and fitted right. So this is one grip safety that even with a high grip, this is a high grip, right? It's classic gun sight 1911 grip because what it's doing is my thumb is riding on the safety. Even with that kind of grip, the grip safety compresses and the gun goes off. It has Crimson Trace laser grips, which, you know, I like. But the one drawback on a little gun, what does a little gun need to be? Flat. Little gun needs to be flat. I'll turn it at the camera. This ain't flat. The Crimson Trace laser grips are a little bit bulky in here, and while it's a great thing for a carry gun to have those lasers, it does make it a little bit fatter. So anyway, that's what we're talking about this week, and this is interesting. In the next couple of weeks, one of the things I'm going to be doing in the next couple of weeks is working with the Mantis X system. It is a sensor that attaches to your gun that analyzes your trigger pull, movement of the gun to make you a better shooter. We're also going to be talking about this funny target behind me. This is from dryfirecards.com, which is toughtargets.com, and it's their training target. And they've essentially devised a whole dry fire training system. So I'm going to be using those, putting together, practicing with them, and then I'll tell you what I think, and hey, maybe it'll make me a better shooter. In any case, I am Michael Bain. This is Triggered. You can find us on michaelbain.tv and, of course, on YouTube, our own Triggered channel. And in a couple of weeks, some even more places. We'll see you next week.